Yo, you know who it is. The nigga with no hairline on YouTube. Nah, I'm just playing. What's going on? You know who it is. It's your man Rezy. Welcome back to the channel. We got the downfall of Squeeze Benz. If you don't know who if you don't know who Squeeze Benz is, he was a YouTuber. Well, you can't even call him a fucking YouTuber. He was just a dumb, reckless ass nigga who would post videos of him driving in between cars like you know, all that real Fast and Furious shit. You probably seen one of his videos and just probably never realized it because his videos were shared millions and millions of times. He finally got caught. And the way that he got caught is so dumb and so relatable. So we're gonna log in, tap in. I got my drink in my Disney Princess cup because I'm an enchanted one. Got the good old stogie here, ready to go. You already know how we do around here, man. We get high and we react to videos, man. So hit that like, share, and subscribe if you into that kind of thing. And if you're not, man, you know, feel free to zoom on up out of here. You feel me? Ain't no harm in it. But if you are into this, hit that like, share, and subscribe. Let me get this sparked up real quick. We gonna log in, tap in. I'm gonna try not to pause too many times so we can just get immersed.
It's January 12th, 2023. A 19-year-old boy from Queens just uploaded his first video on YouTube. He probably didn't know it then, but he just started something massive. 6 months later, he's New York's most infamous street racer. Known for his incredible driving and for never making mistakes.
Let me be clear right now. When I was a young lad, a young whippersnapper, we used to not do shit like this, but you know, we used to drive fast, drive in a straight line hella fast, you know, swerve around a couple cars, but we never did nothing like this, and I do not condone anything like this. And just like the disclaimer says right here, we do not condone this reckless ass behavior. And if you know anybody that does this reckless ass behavior, then you need to slap them, because this shit ain't cool. Because what if they crash into the back of a single mom's fucking car, kill her and her whole goddamn family in the car? Gotta think about that shit.
His followers called him untouchable, and for a while, it really seemed like he was. Until one day in February, he walked into a deli in Long Island City and made a mistake he would soon regret. Before Squeeze Benz became New York's most wanted driver, Antonio Ginestri was just another teenager from Flushing with a driver's license he'd probably had for less than 2 years.
Being 19 is
His
not
early videos didn't blow up overnight.
teenager.
In fact, the first uploads, many of which aren't even online anymore, barely got attention. He was just another kid with a
100K
camera
view,
posting
1,000
racing
views
content.
is
There was nothing
attention.
that made him stand out from the hundreds of other accounts doing the same thing. But then something shifted. Maybe it was the way he started taunting cops directly. Maybe it was that specific style of threading through traffic. No matter what it was, his videos suddenly started to spread. Right around that time, he did an interview with Tommy G in which he talked about his past, his motives,
remember this
and how it all
video.
started.
It started like about a year ago. I got my first Benz, and I always did like little driving videos, and I never really took it to nothing. And then my boy started saying like, you know, mad people are blowing up off this, and I was just like, you know, that's just how it started.
Little did he know that fuck it moment would define the next year of his life. By early 2024, Squeeze Benz wasn't just a username anymore. It was a brand that had cops checking Instagram more than their own patrol routes. NYPD
Damn.
officers would sit in their cruisers
The
watching
AI
his
is
latest
getting crazy,
upload,
though.
knowing exactly who he was but unable to do anything about it. The irony was beautiful. The same department with 36,000 officers, millions in budget, and some of the most advanced surveillance technology in the
Yeah, 'cause
world
NYPD
was getting
don't
clowned
fucking
by
play.
a teenager with an iPhone. What made Squeeze so different from
NYPD does not play when it comes to street racing.
his content?
One place you don't, three places I feel like you don't want to get caught street racing. Really four: New York, Florida, Texas, Cali. Those are places you don't want to get caught street racing, because they'll fuck around, throw the book at your ass.
It was just
Especially in
special.
Florida.
There wasn't anything like that before him. And most importantly, there was nobody that could come close to his driving skills.
That nigga is threatening it. That nigga's threatening it. Like, this is fucking crazy.
Watching his old videos really got you sweating. It was almost
do.
too perfect to not go viral. And
This video went crazy viral when he did the
too.
donuts
Every
around that
video
cop,
followed the same
and the
formula.
cop didn't chase
Drive
him.
reckless,
That
look
shit
for
went
cops,
crazy
get them
viral.
to follow, and then absolutely embarrass them on camera. To stay anonymous while doing all that, he'd just alter his plates, or run with no plates at all. In addition to that, he always wore a black helmet with matching driver gloves. In his interview with Tommy G, Squeeze even revealed how he got all the cars he drove. When the heat got too hot on his personal vehicles, he'd switch to renting luxury cars, or basically any high-performance car he could get his hands on. He would use the rented cars for a few weeks and then swap them out to stay safe.
Ain't no way you
This,
renting
however,
a
is the
luxury
part where
car doing
everything
this.
took a dark turn, because suddenly, Squeeze Benz wasn't just a solo act anymore. He was now part of something bigger, the Squeeze team. The street racing scene in New York was more complex than outsiders realized. You had Squeeze running the Squeeze team, whereas 981 allegedly running the Swim team, and a bunch of smaller crews all competing for the same clout. Sometimes they'd collaborate, like when Tommy G interviewed Squeeze alongside Swim team members. Other times they were rivals, trying to one-up each other's videos. However, the Swim team wasn't just a group of random street racers. They had structure. Different members specialized in different things. But what made them different from previous generations of street racers was their drive.
This shit is crazy. Like, out here in Cali, we don't really do this too much. We are just into like regular racing, drive fast, you know. We'll fly down the block going 60 type shit. You know, like chill shit. Hit a few donuts in the intersection, you know, zoom off. This shit is fucking crazy. The speed limit is 50 miles an hour. That's not even considered a freeway, my nigga. That's like an expressway. Not even expressway. That's like a parkway. You know, like some streets it'd be like 45 and then you can go like 50 if it's like a long stretch. This is fucking deadly.
Driving skills and their
And
ability to
afford-
get their hands on expensive cars. However, their influence spread
stealing
in a
them.
different way than anyone expected. Kids started copying Squeeze without having a fraction of his skill. The result? Crashes. Lots of them. Instagram and TikTok were flooded with wannabes wrapping their cars around barriers, clipping
Yes,
other
it
vehicles,
was.
getting pit maneuvered by cops. However, all those failures just made Squeeze look better. He'd become untouchable in a different way, not just from the cops, but also from competition. Every kid who crashed trying to copy him proved how insane his driving actually was, and that led to his prime. His Instagram hit 700,000 followers. His YouTube passed 300,000 subscribers.
That's
And every
crazy.
new video got crazier than the last one. The Times Square drifting video pulled well over 4 million views and became like a starter pack video for everyone who wanted to know what this trend was about. During that
My
same time,
question is, how
he
they
also
get in these fucking
collaborated with
cars?
Neon, a famous streamer known for his naive and childish personality. During a stream they did together, Squeeze got into his first real accident, although he wasn't the one crashing, because while he was filming one of his greatest and most dangerous runs ever, another team member rear-ended the car he and Neon were sitting in, resulting in a clip that went super viral and
Yeah,
sparked
it did.
massive debates online. But for Squeeze, this was perfect. He gained even more clout, and now almost every teenager in America knew his name. By spring 2024, swimming and cutting up had become standard terminology in New York car culture. The terminology spread through social media, turning dangerous driving into something that sounded almost playful. However, Squeeze knew his influence. In interviews, he'd claim no one was more wanted than him, and whether that was ego or fact, one thing was undeniable. He'd become the face of a problem the NYPD couldn't solve. Up until today, everybody wanted to be just like him. Well, until they saw what happened to him. By early 2024, Squeeze Benz was living two completely
That
different
nigga
lives.
in a
The
Urus
line between them was getting
flying.
blurrier by the
There
day.
was no cop gonna
Online,
catch
he was
him.
the masked driver who could outrun helicopters, and he'd
And that
proven
thing
it
has
more
crazy
than once.
handling.
But offline, he was still just Antonio Ginestri from Queens, and Antonio had problems that even Squeeze Benz's fame couldn't solve. While he was posting racing videos for millions of views, he was allegedly involved in something else entirely. On February 6, 2024, burglaries took place in New Jersey. A stolen BMW X7 with New Jersey plates hitting Speedway gas stations, stealing designer handbags worth almost $40,000. And here's the insane part. He was using the same stolen BMW X7 in his YouTube videos. Every video with that X7 wasn't just content, it was evidence of multiple crimes.
So you mean tell me this goofy nigga was recording his crimes and uploading them to fucking YouTube? He's basically a fucking getaway driver. That's basically literally what he was doing, is being a fucking getaway driver. Stealing designer handbags and dashing away. That nigga was on some Gone in 60 Seconds shit. Like, YouTube was like his part-time job. YouTube was just something just to feed his ego. Literally. That's insane. Like, my generation, we ain't never filmed ourselves doing crime and then post that fucking shit. That was the last thing we was thinking about, was, hey, let's go hit this lick, or let's go sell these fucking packs, and let's live stream ourselves selling these fucking packs on the corner. Our generation would have been wrapped up. This generation is fucking cooked. You got access to all these luxury cars. How the fuck you get a Lamborghini yours? Like, how is niggas stealing these luxury ass cars?
And even though the motives look pretty obvious, the question remains why he decided to go for something so dumb.
In a BMW
It might just actually
X7,
be
that
his ego
SUV
that
is
got too
very
big.
fucking fast.
However, it wasn't until 4 days later that his decisions would catch up to him, the day where his two worlds finally collided. It's a quite Sunday night on February 10th, 2024, at the Steinway Deli in Long Island City. After months of outrunning helicopters and embarrassing police departments, Antonio Ginestri walks into the store to grab food. The details of what happened next are sparse, but some reports say there was an argument going on between Antonio and another customer. The argument escalated quickly, and Ginestri allegedly punched the guy in the head. A punch hard enough that witnesses called 911. Hard enough that when cops showed up, they had to take it seriously.
How the
As soon
fuck
as they
did you
arrived
stay
at the
there
scene,
long enough for the
they
police
arrested
to
him
get
for
you?
assault, processed him, booked him, and set a court date. To the cops doing the paperwork, he's just another kid who can't control his temper. But as soon as they ran his name through the system, they knew they had won. See, the NYPD had been hunting Squeeze Benz for over a year at this point. The Newark Police Department had an open investigation because of that video where he did donuts around their cruisers. Connecticut and New York had their own investigations, and now they finally had a name. Antonio Ginestri, 19 years old, from Flushing, Queens.
19.
Now you might ask, how did they connect this incident to his online identity?
And got
the thing
access to
is,
some of the
nobody
most
knows
fastest
exactly
cars.
how they did it. They never really
How?
explained how they connected Antonio Ginestri to the Squeeze Benz account. The reports just say the investigation into the assault led
He knows
police
his
to
routes
uncover
and
his
he knows
identity.
where to go.
However,
He
given
knows
his
that
enormous
city.
reach and the amount of evidence online, it's
That's
likely
one
that
thing
they
you gotta
already
give
knew
him.
who he was.
He knows
and that
his
they were
fucking
just
route.
waiting for the right opportunity.
He
to
knows
get
his
it.
routes.
Shortly
Look
after
how
the
fast
arrest,
that Urus
Deputy
is.
Commissioner Kaz Daughtry posted on X with Squeeze's mugshot, and the internet exploded. The legend now finally had a face, and that face looked exactly like what he was. A 19-year-old kid who just realized he documented his own downfall. But hold up, it gets even worse. In fact, so much worse. Because just 4 months later, Ginestri got arrested again. This time for the burglaries that happened in February, before he was even identified as Squeeze Benz. And now the timeline becomes clear. On February 6th, he allegedly robbed gas stations with that stolen BMW X7. Then, 4 days later, he gets into the fight at the deli. And between those dates, he posted videos with that same exact car. All that led to him getting charges in multiple jurisdictions. And on top of that, he also got federal charges for crossing state lines. The kid who claimed he could
He's
outrun
done.
helicopters
But
couldn't
those
outrun
federal
his own
charges,
Instagram
he is
account.
done. That's
Squeeze
federal
turned running
reckless
from cops into
endangerment,
an art form.
federal
Made millions
fleeing.
of people believe that if you were
He
good
is
enough,
fucked.
fast enough, smart enough, you could get away with anything. But in the end, it wasn't a high-speed chase that got him. It wasn't a helicopter tracking him through the streets of Manhattan. It wasn't even the thousands of hours of video evidence he posted online. It was a stupid fight in a deli. Since Squeeze disappeared, other guys have stepped up to take his spot. They get close, but it's not the same. Something's missing. That feeling of invincibility, that perfect blend of skill and insanity that made Squeeze different, that died with his arrest. And maybe that's the real lesson here. You can outrun a lot of things.
I don't know why
Cops,
people would even
helicopters,
try
even your
this,
past
like-
for a while, but you can't outrun
Like
yourself.
that's going too far. Like, that's going way too far.